part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Gentlemen across the nation, I have an urgent message for you. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. The brand that took your balls to space is now launching them into the ultrasphere. Introducing the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, featuring a new cutting-edge design and next-generation dual skin-safe blade heads for different shaves.
It's pretty much a spaceship to take your boys downstairs to the next level. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the brand new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Just go to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code PRESSPLAY. High tech for low places. Manscaped.
Hey everybody, we're back with another episode of the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
My name is Jason Otero.
And I'm Gary LeMaster.
And as always, we are brought to you by the Press Play Podcast
Network.
Gotta tell you, I do feel fresh and clean.
Yeah, I mean, we got a little bit of love from Manscaped this week.
Yeah.
You put that to use?
Put it to work.
Real work.
Anyway, I want to jump right in here.
Okay, let's do it.
If you're new to the podcast, you just stumbled upon us. We talk about pictures of men
On cardboard.
on cardboard.
Sometimes on acetate plastic.
Most of them play sports.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yep. Great introduction.
Yeah, we're really
We're
well
floundering.
prepared today.
Floundering. I do want to kick off. You went to Shipshewana, which is kind of nationally one of the bigger shows. Midwest, definitely one of the biggest ones, next to the National this year.
Yep.
And you were able to set up. Did you have two tables up there?
I did. I had two tables.
So walk us through. So Shipshewana is northern Indiana, Amish country, right?
Yes, I had been there before. Not for the show. I'd just been to Shipshewana.
That's a lie.
I painted like 7 murals there. What are you talking about? That's a lie.
I just have never heard somebody say, I went to Shipshewana, but not for the show.
Yeah, no, I was in Shipshewana like 8 or 9 years ago painting murals.
Okay, anyway.
And
Carry on.
I forgot just how Amish it is up there. Completely forgot how Amish it is. I stayed about 20 miles away, and the drive between Goshen, where I stayed, and Shipshewana, where the show was, every time I made that round trip, I passed 45 buggies. It was a lot of horses and a lot of buggies.
OG Amish, you're not seeing like electric bicycles, any of that?
No, straight up OG Amish.
Because Ohio, you got Holmes County, everybody's on like a Jetson or a battery powered
Yeah, no, it
bike.
isn't like that. You want to hear a
which makes me wonder, is that the gateway to Teslas in Amish country?
Well, here's the crazy thing. So, crazy story about Shipshewana, and this is totally unrelated to me just being there, but you'll appreciate it, and so are our listeners, because especially the ones that know us know how goofy I am and how dumb I can be.
Go on.
So, had this mural painting event in Shipshewana 9 years ago, whatever it was. I had been scheduled to go out there and had no idea it was Amish country. None. No clue at all. Just know this is a town we're going to and paint murals. And like the week before that, my wife hates it when I mess with my facial hair. Absolutely hates it. So the week before, just to mess with her, I shaved my mustache and kept my beard. And at this time, my beard was like in the middle of my chest. And jokingly just shaved as Amish.
Oh, no.
And then I go out there, and I'm staying with an Amish family. I had no idea this was Amish country. So I show up and feel like the world's biggest a-hole. Just like these people have to think that I am mocking their religious beliefs. So the first thing I say to these people as they look at me is an apology. I'm so sorry. I had no idea this was Amish country. This was just me messing with my wife, which I think made it worse. Like, it was a horribly awkward experience. So, yeah, that's a funny story about me and Shipshewana.
I'm really glad you shared that. That's yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you had no idea.
I truly had no idea.
I don't believe that.
I don't care.
You did not know you were staying with an Amish family?
No clue.
They didn't call you ahead of time?
No.
We
No,
better
no,
stop.
no.
They might listen to this and get mad at us.
The event organizers did not give that piece of information. They probably just assumed that most people with a brain would figure that out, do a little bit of research before they got there.
Like, yeah, I was just painting all these buggies on the wall.
Yeah.
I didn't think of it.
None of mine were buggy related. Like I was baseball and stuff like that.
you get
Shipshewana
some
used
good-
to have a professional baseball team. Did you
get
know
it?
that?
I did not.
Yeah.
Did you get any good meats and cheeses while you were up there? Any good Amish food?
No, not this trip. The first time around, yeah. This trip, it was
Business.
balls to the wall cards. So the Shipshewana show is a really, really cool show. If you have a chance to go, you should. It's a huge building. It's air conditioned. It's heated. It's a nice space. They do a trade night the night before, and I love the way they do the trade night. You can purchase a VIP pass to trade night and get in an hour early. And if you do that, because the way the trade night is set up, all the dealer tables are out. No dealers are set up yet. And you can just stake out a table, sit down, lay your stuff out, and sell and trade and buy. And it doesn't cost you anything for the table unless you pay for the VIP to get it early. I get there, walk in right as it's getting going. Didn't really know how the trade night side of it worked. Walked around and made a few deals, and then I just sat. I didn't bring a bunch of stuff with me. I brought like 40 or 50 cards. I sat down, sat out 45, 50 cards, and did $1,000 in sales in 20 minutes. And then I panicked because I was like, I brought a bunch of my nicer stuff tonight just to see what happens. I just sold a chunk of inventory. Now I got to walk around and buy some stuff so I have it for tomorrow, which I did. I was able to turn around and pick up some really nice stuff that all ended up selling in the next day or two after that. So trade night was really cool. It's a really fun time. If you get out there, I really recommend going in the night before and doing that. So then the day of the show, I get set up, and I'm not kidding you when I say from 8 o'clock when the show opened, because this is a show that opens early. Dealer set up 7, show opens at 8 or 8:30. And from the time that show started until the end of the show at 3:30, it was non-stop. Absolute craziness, non-stop.
How many people you think were through there?
4,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. Lots of deals were made. Bought a bunch, sold a bunch of what I bought, traded for a few things, sold that stuff. All in all, between trade night and the show itself, I probably came home with $1,500 worth of inventory that I didn't have prior, and I did probably $3,500 or so in sales, and could have done a little bit more if I had been willing to give a few things away. I just wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the tension when you see a lot of inventory moving. Then you're like, all right, I'm gonna probably need this.
Yeah,
because I want to need it at the percentage I needed at.
Yeah, exactly.
What was your favorite pickup at the show?
Well, I think my favorite pickup at the show I only had for about 15 minutes. I picked up a Derek Jeter on-card auto of 10, patch auto, game use patch auto, and I had it for all of about 10 minutes.
Let's get the dirty details. What'd you get it for? What'd you sell it for?
So I had that Cody Bellinger White Whale rookie patch auto from Triple Threads in a True Gem that I had for a while. Guy was set up at trade night you could tell he was a huge Dodgers fan. Lots of Dodgers cars, wearing a Dodgers jersey, wearing a Dodgers hat.
Just a couple subtle hints.
And he's who had the Jeter. So I'm looking at his stuff and I said, hey, I got a card that may be interesting to you. And I show it to him. He was like, oh man. And so we got to talking. I ended up trading him that card for the Jeter and $300 in cash, $350, something like that. And then I turned around and walked to another table, and there were two guys at that table.
He had a Yankees hat, Yankees jersey, Yankees cards.
Well, the first guy I had a Johnny Bench game use patch auto numbered to 50 that immediately caught my eye, and so I had to have that. And I had a Nolan Arenado patch auto numbered to 10, and I traded that for the bench and $50, which I felt pretty good about. And then his little table mate there said, hey, look through this guy's stuff. So he pulls out the Jeter, and I turned around and traded the Jeter he had, and you're actually thinking about buying it from me. There is a not quite postcard size. It's like a box topper size card, and that's what they were. Upper Deck did a series with Joe Montana and Dan Marino, the Super Bowl, celebrating Super Bowl 19. And it was a pretty big print run on the card, but then they had a Super Bowl party, like a VIP party, and they gave away 1,500 of these. 500 of them were just signed by Marino, 500 were just signed by Montana, and 500 of them were signed by both of them. And he had one of the ones that was signed by both of them, and it caught my eye immediately. Just such a really cool piece. And it's numbered 420 of 500. So a certain subset of collector, that's going to appeal to.
If I allow it to leave my hands.
Yeah. And it's just a really nice piece. The autos are really clean. They look really good. The card is a really eye-catching piece. And so I traded the Jeter for this and another $300 in cash. So I basically turned the Bellinger into $600 or $650 in cash and this card.
And where does it comp at? The Bellinger by itself?
The Bellinger doesn't have comps. It's a one of one.
Okay.
It's a true one of one. It's the white whale. I valued it at around $800 is what I valued it at. So I came out ahead on that. I came out about 20% ahead of what I valued it at in those.
That was your favorite little exchange there through those?
Yeah, it probably was my favorite one. I bought a few other things. I bought some Ohtani rookies, some graded Ohtani rookies. Picked up a Frank Thomas on-card auto to 50. Clemens on-card auto to 25 from Topps Chrome Black. Bunch of stuff like that. Just the kind of my meat and potatoes type of $50 to $200 pieces. And moved a bunch of them. It was just a really fun show. It's a show that if you have a chance to go to, you're going to be able to find just about anything that you can think of to find. And the dealers are all really good dealers. So.
Yep. Next one they're doing is a Memorial Day weekend on Memorial Day.
Correct.
And you said that's their biggest one.
Yeah, and then trade night's the night before on Sunday. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get out for that one just because it falls on a Monday, and I don't know whether I want to take a day off work to go do it. So
yeah. Last week I did a lot of work. I mentioned that I had purchased this large collection. It was going to take forever to sort it, and it sure did. I knew that most of it was low end. I've gone through most of everything. I have 3 2-row boxes of stuff that's probably just good stuff to throw in from time to time into my dollar boxes. But I priced out everything else. I've mentioned it before. As a newer dealer, I have so much to learn. It is a super steep learning curve. And if I'm not willing to do the work of comping out cards, even the ones that are 3 to 5, then I'm going to buy the wrong stuff down the road, or just take guesses. And I don't want to play that game. So I spent a lot of time pricing out. I did a sale last Thursday night, 3 3-row boxes, all $1 cards. Almost all of that came out of that new collection, and I moved $801 cards in one night.
That's awesome.
People were like fighting over the opportunity to get at these. Most of these cards were $1 to $3. There were maybe a couple worth $5 or $7, that were good deals. But if you're willing to work at it, it'll get you there. So now I'm sitting on a collection that I've just about got. I think I spent $1,000 on the whole collection, and I've just unloaded a chunk of the $1 cards, and I'm almost back to even. I spent a lot of time pricing it now. What probably will happen in a couple years is as I buy and get a better feel for some of these inserts, not ultra modern, but stuff that, like ultra modern basketball is something that I'm not super, I don't stay up to date on. So I have to comp that. Late 90s inserts, while I love them, I get excited about all of them. Every die cut, every numbered card from the late 90s, early 2000s. Some of them are monsters. Some of them are huge.
And some of them are 50 cents.
Some of them look like monsters, and they're 50 cents. So, but this was a collection that had some really eclectic stuff. It had old stamps.
I think the one that was really interesting to me was the of 5 Sport Kings auto of some Olympic gold medalist skier.
Yeah.
On card.
Yeah, on card with a patch.
Yeah, you got to find that person's family and be like, hey, you should buy this. Find them on IG.
Yeah, some weird stuff in there, some non-sport, some old WWF stuff, weird Star Wars, and then some weird sports card stuff. But I will do really well on that. Second round of those sales I'm doing tonight. I do think that I will about triple my money by the time it's all said and done. But boy, it's been a little bit of work.
Well, and I
getting
think
there.
that's the key. Like, I think we might have talked briefly about this when you first talked about buying this collection, but I can't reiterate it enough. If you're out there trying to sell a large collection like this, understand that in order to move it in one chunk, you're going to have to sell it at between 20 and 30% of what it's worth, because whoever buys it has so much time and effort involved in it. If you want the rewards of the value of the collection, then you have to be willing to put that time and effort into it. If you aren't willing to put that time and effort into it, that's fine. Just know that you're not getting premium dollars for it. It's that straightforward.
Yep. That's pretty much how it is. The other thing I've been doing is, as I'm buying and selling these collections, running these dollar sales, I'm taking a large portion of whatever I get out of these low-end sales and investing it into larger cards. So, a big goal for me this year is to beef up my inventory. It's actually, when you get a little bit intentional about this, it's really not hard to see your inventory change pretty quickly. But you have to make a conscious effort. I felt like I wasn't doing that so much with this collection I bought. However, if I'm just using the revenue off of this to buy the better stuff and I'm only out, 20 hours.
25 hours,
total, then it's definitely been worth it. So, want to talk through some pickups in the last week?
Yeah.
I've been
first.
on a heater. I don't typically do, so we talk about these different formats where people will basically offer a gamble at different cards. One of the formats is called bottoms, where if a card is worth $120, let's say, they'll say, all right, we're going to run this bottoms. 10 people put their name in the hat. A randomizer is set up. If you're the number one spot after the randomizer, you win the card, or usually a buyback percent if somebody just wants cash for the real degenerates out there. Spots 2 through 6. Or 2 through 7 will be, safe. You don't owe any money. And then 8 through 10, you each owe $40 to get to that 120. Well, I only entered 2 of these. These are the only 2 I entered this week. The first one was a 1998 Skybox Merino on-card auto. I won it.
Beautiful card.
Beautiful card. That one was free for me. Because, I didn't do more than one spot and my spot hit. The other one that I did was, a bottoms for a Juan Soto Topps PSA 10 rookie. I can't remember what series it is, but I bought 2 spots on that. I hit the winning spot, but I also hit spot 9, so I was paid $30 for that card.
Yeah, but it's like a $60 or $70 card.
Yeah, so I did well on that. One other big pickup. I don't know that I told you. I'm pretty sure I did, but I'm not sure. I'm sitting in bed. I look over at my wife and say, honey, I want to buy an autograph, but here's the deal. I want it to be somebody weird, but a card that's going to be awesome.
Okay.
My wife, it took her all of 3 seconds to go, you need a Rick Smits auto. I mean, when you meet your soulmate, they say you just know. And that was one of those moments that just clarified that. Rick Smits auto is on its way. Actually, it's coming from Burbank Sports Cards.
That's funny.
I think it was an $8 autograph.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't I have
a Rick Smits auto?
Yeah. That's a big one. He will go right in there with my obscure auto collection, which has now been started officially between the Rick Smits and the Scalabrini auto. I think between those two, I've got kind of an oddball thing going there. But I picked up a Davis 85 Fleer PSA 9 rookie as well. So just keep adding to that a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff. Releases this week. There's one big one, and it's a sport we don't talk about that often. But in case you've been living under a rock, people are going a little bit nuts over this Bedard kid.
Connor Bedard.
Series 2 Upper Deck Hockey. So what are the different formats in retail where you can get this?
Blaster Mega 10.
Blaster Mega and 10. And what is the retail price on those? Ballpark it.
I believe at Walmart the blasters are either $24.99 or $29.99. Megas are going to be $44.99 or $49.99, and 10s are usually $49.99.
Okay. And then what are the resale values for those sealed right now?
Right now, well, the resale value on the blasters, I'm not 100% sure what it is right now. Pre-release, people had them and they were selling for $40 to $50 a piece. But the Bedard base Young Guns cards, now listen very closely. If you hit a Bedard Young Guns base card and you don't sell it immediately, you are outside of your mind. If you are buying Connor Bedard Young Guns base rookie cards right now at the prices they're selling for, you are also outside your mind. Those things are snap selling on Facebook for between $700 and $800 right now. I saw a couple early in the get it day on release day yesterday selling for $1,200. That's a card that there's probably 100,000 of out there. Is it a card that is going to hold value long term? I believe so. Is it going to hold $800 value? It's not going to hold $800 value for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Like, if you buy that card right now and send it to PSA, by the time you get it back, it's going to be worth, in a PSA 10, what you paid for it or a little bit less. It just is. In 3 weeks, that card's going to be $200, $250, which means even at a triple multiplier, you're at $600 to $750 on a PSA 10, and the pop on that card is going to be really, really high. If you're going to buy Connor Bedard stuff, wait 2 weeks, or buy numbered stuff. Or if you really want to get nuts, wait till the cup comes out, which is Upper Deck's version of like Flawless. If you wait till the cup comes out, the cards that come out in the cup are going to be so high end that it's going to drive down the price of some of the other stuff. The play for me right now with Upper Deck Series 2 hockey is very simple. Buy sealed retail and stick it in a closet.
Yeah.
Don't rip it. Don't anything. Just buy it and stick it in a closet. There aren't too many things that you can put money into where you can somewhere in the vicinity of 25 to 30x your money in 5 years. That's probably one of your best opportunities. Worst case scenario, I think that you're going to double to triple your money on that stuff in 4 to 5 years. But 2015-16 blasters, which have Connor McDavid Young Guns in them, sell for $550 to $600 a piece.
Yeah.
And they were $19.99 when they were in stores.
What are some of the differences you've noted with? So both you and I would say that we're primarily baseball, football. I do a little bit more basketball than you, but my basketball stuff that I buy is usually 90s through early, to 2010. If I get a collection that has some nice stuff, but honestly, the ultra modern basketball, I'm not interested in learning 900 variations for products that are overpriced. And I'm not
interested in the basketball market. Is the only market that I'm aware of that a card can be worth $5 on Tuesday, $100 on Saturday, and back to $12 by the following Tuesday. Yeah. I'm not interested in playing that game.
Yeah, a good example of that would be if you haven't seen our TikTok channel, definitely check it out. But we were giving updates on the 5K challenge, and I talked about how I ordered that. I bought that Luka as it was shipping. Luka goes off for 70 points. The value on the card actually dropped because everybody was so, impulsive in that market that they jump in and buy up everything that's sitting on eBay from prices for before scoring, and it actually brought that down. Anyway, what have you noticed about hockey collectors? Does a rookie like Bedard create a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like when a musician goes into a different genre, what's that called? It's not a crossover. It's there's a word for it culturally. Dang it!
I'm not that smart, man.
Like whenever Darius Rucker started singing country, what's it called? I feel so dumb. I feel so dumb right now.
I'm not making any of the obvious jokes.
Talk about how this rookie can have an impact on the spotlight that hockey gets in the hobby this year.
I don't think that that's going to happen at all. I think that the vast majority of people who are buying this product right now are not hockey collectors at all. They are literally ripping boxes looking just for Bedard, and if they don't hit Bedard, I don't even know what they're doing with the rest of the stuff. It's a little bit of the of what we saw back in 2019-20 when everybody, even if they weren't basketball collectors, were chasing Zion and Ja, and they would open this product, and if they didn't hit a Zion or a Ja, it would just went in a box or got thrown away, and it will burn out. So hockey collectors, in my opinion, are really, truly one of the last bastions of true collectors. Like hockey collectors, when they come to your table at a show and ask if you have hockey, one, their face lights up because only 1 out of every 10 tables has any. Their face lights up, and then they will buy whatever you have if it's their team or if it's a nice patch or it's a player they don't fight you on price. They don't like grab their phones and show you 13 different that's just, they're collectors. And hockey fans in general are some of the most rabid fans you'll ever meet. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the case. But I think that the Bedard stuff is going to have an impact on the hobby in the short term. But the guys that are buying this stuff right now are just trying to rip as much as possible, move that card as quick as possible, and then they'll be on to the next thing.
If you decide to rip it, you're selling him right away unless it's a big boy.
Yeah, and even if it's a big boy, you should probably sell it right away.
Or wait a while.
I mean, if you pull a gold or something, another 50, another 25 type card, that's something you should send off and get graded. You're going to get upcharged on it, but you put it on gold and then it'll move. But I think that the base card's going to be down to $200 to $250 in a month, and people are paying $800 to $1,000 for it right now.
Having said that, if you see any of it on the shelves, you're scooping it up, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just, and it's going in the closet. I'm not ripping any of it. It's literally just, I've even told my wife, like, if you see that stuff, I showed her pictures. If you see it and you're at the store, buy it, take the money out of our savings, buy it. It's just investment money. That's all that it is. It's like literally just going to go in the closet, and then we'll sell it when it goes up.
For the last 2 minutes, I've been ignoring Gary and looking up the term for when a band does what they do. And it turns out it was just crossover.
Yeah. So
that was anticlimactic. I do apologize for being less attentive than I should be. However, I too will be buying up those boxes and tens if I see them anywhere in the public this year.
Yeah, just stick them on a shelf.
Or, so is he going to be hard to hit? I mean, what are you seeing?
I mean,
like in a mega, is somebody probably hitting him if they grab a couple of those?
Not a couple, but I bet if you buy 5 of them, you're gonna.
And what's his base going for right now?
Right now, $800, which is just, I mean, it's nutty.
If you sell that on eBay, do not offer returns.
If you sell it on eBay, you're outside your mind.
Well,
you'll get the same money for it on Facebook, and you won't pay 13.5% fees.
Yeah, but you're selling to millions of more people.
Yeah, but the stuff is moving so fast on Facebook and IG right now that it doesn't matter. You don't need that audience for that kid right now.
You know, I'm out of touch with the IG side of cards, and from what I hear, that makes me really old because it's pretty active.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm familiar with what it is. People will always ask me, do you have an IG? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I have a hard enough time. We have gotten, in the last 2 weeks, we have made the commitment as a podcast to become very active on TikTok. And that is taking my brain bandwidth more than anything else is the video side of things. Like, and if you haven't followed our TikTok yet, what are you doing? Get on TikTok and follow us at the Ball Card Show. We're putting out some, I think, pretty good content.
I'd also throw this out. If you are a video editor and you love our show and you'd love to help in any way, hit us up on our socials. We'd love to have a conversation with you.
That's true.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Coming up here in just a moment, Gary's favorite segment.
Yay.
Baseball season's right around the corner. We got prospecting coming right up. If you've been in an accident and your car needs a little TLC, look no further than Newark Auto Body and Zanesville Auto Body. Safe and reliable collision repairs are their business.
They are a local, family-run, and veteran-owned business serving the Newark, Zanesville, and surrounding areas. And guess what? They work with all insurance providers to make your experience hassle-free. Plus, make sure to ask about their special discounts for U.S. military veterans.
Visit them today at autobodyofnewark.com and autobodyofzanesville.com to get your repair started.
Their iCar Gold Class team of skilled collision repair technicians will make your vehicle just like new again.
All right. So let's talk baseball. Before we jump into prospecting, it's coming, Gary.
Okay.
It'll be here. I want to talk about a very interesting break that happened the other night. You addressed it on our TikTok channel. Somebody got a nice hot case of Topps. Was it Topps Chrome Sapphire?
It was Sapphire, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Sapphire update.
Sapphire update. And they start breaking. They're like, oh my gosh, an auto. Oh, another one. It was over 80 autographs.
94 autos in the case.
Woo! You imagine that you bought
every box
like,
but
you know
one.
You know what? I shouldn't buy multiple spots, but I love this product. Somebody out there bought. I hope somebody had 6 teams in that break.
Yeah, and just crushed it. It was every box in that case except for one had 11 autographs, and then one of the boxes had one. That tells me that this is not a purposeful thing. Something got screwed up in the collation at the factory.
And what was the name of the group that broke it?
I don't know.
I've seen the name before. It's well known.
Yeah.
Overtime pools?
Maybe, yeah.
If I'm wrong, I know there's overtime pools out there, but they had a statement about it that it clearly had to be on purpose. Well, yeah. But they were treating it like an Easter egg. Not like somebody gave us a hot box on purpose for marketing. They're saying like, oh, it must be an Easter egg. Why is the one box with one in the case?
That's my thing. That's why I think it was a collation error and not anything else. One box in a case having the correct stuff in it and the rest of them not.
So what does a case of that cost? I mean, it's a pricey product.
Well, there's 3. I think the boxes are around $350.
That's better than I thought.
Yeah, there's 8 boxes in a case, 8 or 9 10 boxes in a case. I don't know. Something
you
like
can
that.
get murdered in that product, though.
Oh, absolutely, you can
get
get
a ton
murdered
of
in that
sapphire
product.
base.
Yeah, you can absolutely get murdered in that product. But that was a over the top. Like you saw, they showed if you find them on any of their socials, their video socials, they show the end results like just a table full of sorted cards ready to be packaged for shipping, and it's just nothing but autos from one break. It was intense.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into prospecting. And may God give us one day a case of cards that does the exact same thing.
No kidding.
So let me pull up our cheat sheet here.
By cheat sheet, you mean the end result of the massive amount of hard work that I do to bring this content to all of you.
I might have to put some hip waders on in here. It's getting deep, if you know what I mean.
My knowledge and work on this stuff, along with about $1.50, will get you a bad cup of coffee just about anywhere. So,
can I tell on you for what happened?
No, I would prefer that you not.
All right.
I would prefer that you not.
All right. Well, you'll have to ask us at a show if you want to know what happened with this list. All right, we got a handful of these guys that we have picked out to run through. We are on position 60 through 51 in our top 100. I'm going to zoom in because I am
old,
requiring a prescription that I do not wear. But first one of these, and again, this list will be available at some point later in the season, but for now, we want you to take notes.
Yeah.
Take note mentally if you're driving, because that would be unsafe. If you were heading down the highway and we're like, they said take notes.
Yeah, don't do that.
Do you remember the old school steno? What was the notepad that was like a half sheet, but you flipped it over the top? It was yellow with a line down the middle. You don't see them anymore.
It's just a little mini notepad.
But no, it flipped over the top. There was a term for it, and some schools required that type of notebook for like vocabulary.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, where'd you go to school?
Someplace in Ohio.
What was the name of it?
DeGraff Riverside.
That's right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Wasn't as high class as my place in southern Indiana. Grace Baptist Christian Church and School.
Gonna disagree.
Really?
Yeah. Riverside was classy for a bunch of farm kids.
You didn't get that IFB vocabulary?
No, we did not.
We'll leave that alone because that's not what this podcast is about at all. First name we're going to be talking about is Robbie Snelling. I'll get this started out. If you don't know what he looks like somebody you don't want to meet in the dark alley.
Yeah, he's a pretty thick boy, pretty strong built kid. Yeah.
That was so
He was a
you
he
made-
was a
it wasn't-
4-star.
It wasn't awkward until you the thick.
He was a 4-star linebacker in high school. He was pretty heavily recruited by D1 schools as a linebacker coming out of high school. He's 6'3", 210 pounds, can move. His delivery is really repeatable. When we talk about pitchers being athletic, what we're really talking about more than anything else is a level of flexibility that allows for a repeatable delivery. You want that delivery to be the same all the time, and he has that. The fastball is solid. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. It sits 92, 94, plays up. Lots of good induced vertical break on it, so the ball stays at the top of the zone pretty well. Makes it hard for hitters to catch up to. The slurve is filthy, and not too many guys throw a true slurve anymore, and he does. It is a nasty, nasty, nasty pitch, and he lands it for a strike 65% of the time, which is a big number on a secondary. It's got two-plane movement. Occasionally, the two-plane movement isn't great, and it just turns into a high 80s curve that is also pretty nasty. He's got a changeup, too. The changeup is still a work in progress. If he gets that thing to just being the command on that pitch, it's going to be an average pitch. And when you have 2+ pitches and an average third pitch with good command, you are a solid 3 or 4 starter.
Yeah.
In
So
the majors.
as I was watching the videos, just a few things stood out to me. Very commanding presence, like somebody who has been playing this at the highest level for a decade. He just doesn't seem very shaken. While control may be an issue at some points, so these fastballs are typically hitting that 92, 94 range. You wouldn't guess that when you watch the batters.
No, it comes up on you quick.
He gets in front of them so often. They're chasing, and with the movement he has with that slurve, the guys are guessing a lot. That level of confidence at that level of play already makes me feel pretty excited about his future. And I think hobby related, there's not a lot of jacked pitchers.
No, and he's in a great situation because the Padres pitching staff is not what you would call lights out.
Right.
Snell's gone.
Yeah.
They've still got Yu Darvish, but which Yu Darvish? Is it going to be a healthy Yu Darvish? Is it not?
Mm-hmm.
So there's opportunity. It wouldn't shock me if he sees some innings all the way up this year. He's going to start the year in Double-A and see where it goes, but he's looked pretty good in the spring. The tools are all there for him to really make a leap. He's in 2022 Bowman draft, by the way. And you can get his refractors. I'm not talking about autos or stuff, but you can just get his base refractors for $5 a piece right now. Not a terrible pickup at all.
Yeah. Up next, Luis Angel Acuna, little baby Acuna, Ronald's little brother. So here's the criticism that he gets is that he doesn't seem to be somebody that's going to hit as many jacks. He doesn't seem to swing for power the same way that his big brother does. However, there's one thing I want to say. As I'm watching his film, man, there were a lot of opposite field fly balls that just kept carrying. Contact was pretty pure. The glove is very smooth. I'm just a well-rounded, solid prospect. I'm big on him, and I know that he's going to already have a little hobby hype because of his brother. I don't know how affordable he is because of that.
He's actually come down a little bit.
I'm sure, yeah, because people wanted to see a lot of home runs. They wanted to see the same thing.
Well, and the thing is like, so his setup is almost identical to Ronald's, right? It's
very
a little
similar
bit,
swings.
Yeah, but the difference is this, and this is something that a lot of people don't take into account. Power isn't generated from your upper body. Power is generated from your lower body. You don't agree?
I think it's both and. But
if you have that type of a setup and you don't have an explosive lower body that stays really well connected to the upper body throughout the action of the swing, you're going to end up with a lot of softer contact than somebody.
Or your Brady House.
Yeah, but this kid ain't Brady. This kid ain't Brady.
Very
House.
different swing styles
and different height. It's just not the same thing. That's the biggest concern with him. Now he's going to steal a bunch of bases. I think that he's going to be a 15 to 20 home run guy. He's just a tick below average. And that's okay if you're hitting 15 to 20 home runs and you're hitting 280 and you are stealing 50 bags and you're playing Gold Glove level defense, you are a borderline all-star level player.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that the question becomes, is he going to be able to stick it short, or are they going to move him to the outfield, because Francisco Lindor is going to be there for a while. And as much as people have pretended that Francisco Lindor has been bad since he got to the Mets, it's just not true. He had one down year, and then he's been a 6-WAR player. Like, he's still one of the best shortstops in the game.
Yeah. 2020 Chrome.
Yeah, Bowman Chrome. And he's auto only.
He have 18 home runs last year. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds about
right. Watching the film, though, I think there's still a little time to see what can develop out of the power. Like, if there's a little bit more than he's getting credit for. But just overall, really, really solid player.
Yeah, you're good. I'm pointing out. I want to talk about one guy we didn't say we wanted to talk about.
Oh, great. Yeah. Which one would you like to take off the list later?
No, none of them. Noah Schultz. I do want to talk about Noah Schultz. I'm surprised you didn't want to talk about Noah Schultz.
Okay.
Did you watch Noah Schultz?
Did I miss Noah Schultz altogether?
He's 56. Did you watch any Noah Schultz?
I didn't. I didn't have him on my list. I had notes, everybody.
Noah Schultz is kind of a freak. He's 6'9". He has a low 3/4 release point. The ball stays hidden forever. His back stays to the batter's box forever. Like, the kid just screams Randy Johnson. The only real question mark with this kid, like, legitimately, is how is his arm going to react to getting stretched out? If he can add 15 pounds of good weight, his fastball sits, right now in spring, it's been sitting 96 to 98. He has got a nasty, nasty slider. He's not afraid to throw it to right or left-handed hitters. The changeup's still a work in progress. Get him stretched out, and then what's the command going to do? There's flashes of plus command. If he has plus command with that fastball and that slider, the changeup doesn't even have to be amazing, and he is a potential frontline starter. He's worth going to watch throw. Like, if you want to watch somebody who just can be absolutely intimidating at some point, throw a pitch, go watch Noah Schultz.
You say he does or does not have product out yet?
He does not have product out yet.
All right. Be a name to watch then.
Yep.
Up next, a name that's been talked about by us a few times by now at 54, Brady House. Dude just keeps hitting the ball really far.
Which is weird. Like you said, he has a swing that I think could kindly be called unorthodox.
Yeah, it's like a chop, and the finish is like out in front, not through, but the ball just carries over and over. Really, really strange how that happens.
Yeah, and normally when you see that type of an unorthodox swing, as a player goes up in level and starts to get challenged, they start to struggle. He's kind of been the opposite. He is, like, as he's gone up in levels, he's gotten a little bit better. Last year, he went through 3 levels. He slashed 312, 365, 497. Hit 12 home runs. That was at 88 games. Like, in a full season, that's a 25, 26 home run season. The exit velocities indicate that there's potentially 70 grade power there. But like you were saying, the swing path is just flatter than what you would expect for somebody that's 6'4". He was drafted as a shortstop. They've already moved him to third base. He was never going to be a long-term shortstop. But he will play as a plus defender at third. He's got good range for a third baseman and a good arm. It's just a question of whether that swing's going to get tweaked to get that plus power into games. If it does, if those exit velocities maintain a 90th percentile on that 107 to 108 range, and he gets some more lift on the ball, there's 30 home run potential there.
Yeah.
So it's just a question of whether that happens.
Yep. Up next, the opposite when it comes to build and athleticism from Brady House.
Harry Ford.
Harry Ford. That was a weird thing. Like, there were some plays I was watching with House where he's hitting the ball and he's stretching out a double. And it's like when I was a kid and I would put my dad's shoes on and try to go sprinting in them, it's almost like he hasn't grown into that side. But, I mean, he's a big guy, and he was hustling, He was hustling. He's getting the job done. Harry Ford. So this guy is just a polished baseball player. His contact, his ability to drive the ball, his athleticism. Now, as they're talking about him, he's in that catcher role. There's a good chance that he ends up out in the outfield. You mentioned that already.
They were playing him in center some last year. How many guys are athletic enough to be a catcher and a center fielder?
Yeah. And if they believe enough in his bat, then he's got to be in the outfield.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. Over time, you're going to get more out of him.
Well, and Ford is a guy who 2 years ago was a top 25 prospect. Now he's a top 55 prospect. The athleticism gives you lots of hope. That athleticism has not turned into high-level production at the minors. He ended his third 2.5 professional seasons last year still in high A. And at the high level, he hit 268, 265, something like that. There's just been slower progression than a lot of people would think, and a lot of people wonder why he's still in the top 60. The reality of it is that those physical tools are going to get the benefit of the doubt until they don't. The swing is solid. It's compact. It's not geared for lift. It's geared for line drives. I don't think he's ever going to be a big home run guy. If he hits 15 to 20, I think that's going to be kind of his max. But he's also a guy I think who could hit 45 or 50 doubles.
Yeah.
And steal 45 or 50 bags.
That's what I was going to say. Watch how he hits the ball. He seems to hit with intent. He seems to have a really good read on where the ball's going and where he needs to place the ball. His ability to hit gaps, his ability to drive it through the infield and a ground ball.
Yep.
He seems to be really okay taking what's there. And I think for somebody like him, but we're talking, surprisingly, about a utilitarian role here, I think he's going to do well. I know that he's got some production he needs to really put out there, but it's now affordability for him, 2021 draft.
He's actually pretty affordable right now.
Yeah.
He wasn't 2 years ago.
Brady House was crazy expensive out of the gate. But some of that lined up with when the product was released, right?
Yeah, and House had a lot of hype. He was the number 11 overall pick. He had a lot of hype coming out of high school because on the junior circuits he was hitting moonshots. And one of the things that everybody needs to realize with these prep kids is if they're a first-round talent as a hitter, as a prep kid, they're going to make other prep pitchers look stupid for the most part. When you actually go face professional pitchers, it becomes a different ballgame.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. One more, and this was a
just
pitcher.
one?
Yeah, this was a pitcher that
suck.
was. Well, we did 6, bud.
I know, but we didn't do any last week.
I know. And the
Can't
week before that, we did double.
All right.
Nobody wants to hear you do 10 of these.
Which one are we
Except for
doing?
you.
You pick the one we're doing.
All right. Tink Hence.
Okay, good
So,
choice.
if you haven't watched him pitch, it's very entertaining. Tink Hence has a lot of tools at his disposal, and he seems to know exactly what the batter is not expecting.
His ability to, like you just said, like the actual pitching IQ is off the charts.
Yes. He'll make a lot of hitters look silly. And he's got a little bit of, I wouldn't say chip on his shoulder. He looks like he's having a blast out there. He's having so much fun. You look at Snelling, looks like he's ready to go in for a bench press, and he's dead serious.
Yep.
And then you look at Hence, and Hence is having a blast. He's having fun playing the game.
Yeah.
And he's really good at it.
Well, and he's one of those guys that his wind-up is very reminiscent of what you would see back in the late 80s, early 90s. The back comes all the way to where his back is facing the batter. He's looking over that shoulder, and that back those shoulders stay closed a long time in that release. So the ball just feels like it explodes out of his hand. Now, he's not throwing 97, 98 mile an hour. He's throwing 93 to 95 with that fastball. But because of how that windup functions, it's just on top of guys.
You know who else was really good at that?
Hideo Nomo?
I was going to say Dontrell Willis.
Yeah, Dontrell Willis too.
Very
yeah.
similar. That release, if they're trying to track his hand, it's going to be tough. But when you have the ability to throw so many efficient different pitches, he's going to be a menace.
Yeah, and the fastball, I've got a 60 current, 70 future grade on it, mostly because I think that as he gets stretched out, he's going to get a little bit stronger. It might tick up a little bit, but more importantly, I think the induced vertical break's going to get a little bit better. And that's probably a little more in the weeds. You just looked at me like, what did you just say?
Well, I know you like to say big words that other people don't think about. So, you guys don't think about induced vertical break?
Well, it's an important
very important
thing.
Statistic, yes.
If you don't know what induced vertical break is,
please explain it for the third time, Gary.
have I explained it already?
Yes, but everybody wants to hear it
Nope,
again.
never
no,
mind.
one more time.
Nope. I'm not going to.
In case they may have zoned out.
Induced vertical break is the amount of vertical. The amount of vertical staying power that a pitch has. Does the ball drop from the release point? How much does it drop from the release point till where it's caught? The less drop there is on a fastball, the more it looks like to the batter that it's rising as it comes in. That's induced vertical break. Here's the biggest concern with Tink Hence. Because when he came in 2022, he just absolutely destroyed low A. Like, it was a joke to him. Last year, he got a little bit challenged and then figured it out and dominated again in Double A. But the concern is in 2.5 seasons, he's thrown a total of 156 innings. Now, the Cardinals are notorious. Like, the Dodgers are notorious for keeping their bats down until they're 30 years old. The Cardinals are notorious for babying arms, and they don't stretch these guys out. So this year, the question is, how's he going to respond to a real pitching workload? Like, what's going to happen if they do what they did last year? That he should get to about 140 to 160 innings this year. How does his arm respond to that? If his arm responds well to that, there's nothing stopping him from a late season call up. The traits are there for a true frontline starter, and floor wise, I don't see him being anything worse than a 4. A pretty good 4, but there's enough in the tank there that you could be looking at a future Cy Young candidate. He's that good.
Yeah, I agree. 2020 Bowman draft.
Yep. Also an auto. Is he an auto only guy? He might be an auto only guy in that product as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Might be. Don't hold me to that, but I think so.
All right, well, tomorrow, Gary and I will be down at the Xenia show. Tomorrow is March the 9th. Yep. If you want to say hey, check us out there. If you have not yet subscribed and followed us on TikTok, we are there putting up consistent content for you, stuff that is not on the podcast, hot takes we have of things that just happened in the hobby, updates on our 5K challenge, and soon we'll be cutting and clipping and adding in buys and sales from card shows. So
yep.
Be sure to be a part of that. Anything else I'm missing?
No, you were all worried we weren't going to have a full episode with what we had today, and we got 53 minutes out of this bad boy.
I did forget about the induced vertical break, and for that
extra 30 seconds got you there.
Sorry. This has been the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast
for the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.